is buffer time? What is buffer time? Is what buffer time?
It's that time again. It is buffer time. And today we are talking about the 2006 classic, A Lobster Tale. Or Galaxy Quest. We'll get there. But before we do, let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Dustin.
I'm Josh, also known as Windgrace, and I am a son of Warvan.
I'm crewman number 6, aka Scott of Opinions No One Cares About.
My name is Gwen, and I repeat what the computer says.
I'm still just Ren Rants.
I wish I had a major clip to just throw in right after that as the computer. All right. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is just a tiny-ish bit of news.
Star Trek Scouts?
No, we are not talking about episode 3 of Star Trek Scouts. Just no. Nope, all done. No, Magic the Gathering and Star Trek. That's going to be a thing at the end of next year. And it's probably going to be way too expensive for anybody that doesn't have a second job and no children.
I don't have any children.
Dinks to the front.
Collect away. I really wanted to get the Fallout set, but it's so expensive. It's like $50.
I haven't played Magic since high school because of how expensive it is.
I went out just for the heck of it, and assuming they do the same thing, this is almost $8 for one.
Yeah, just for
Spider-Man.
If you buy a full deck, it's $50.
I feel like those were $4 back when I played, but now
they were.
That's
I think
nuts.
$3.50, $3.99.
Yeah, decks were $10 and booster packs were $2. Man, back in our day, jeez.
So the entire deck. The entire deck is supposed to be $50, or they haven't come out with pricing yet.
They haven't come out with the total.
That's just my guess, or it might even be more because #inflation by the time it comes out next fall.
Yeah, I think a box of this Final Fantasy is $79.99 or something because they put a premium on the more important sets, the things people might actually want.
This one, people are going to collect this one out of.
My mom's really into Magic the Gathering. She's probably going to buy this whole set.
Nice.
Well, you can show
That's
it to
her
us
thing. That's her one hobby that she spends money on is Magic the Gathering.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts is baseball cards that have been sort of altered to say other things. And it would be really wonderful to be able to do that with this. But see, it's easier with something that doesn't cost this much though.
Sure.
And I fly the ship.
Oh my god.
No, I would love to collect this. I've collected Magic on and off since high school. I wouldn't say I haven't really played it in a long time.
I want a deck of those fake ones.
My mom's highly ranked in online Magic. It's crazy.
Ooh.
I got her into playing it in high school, and then I stopped playing, and she's just kept playing it ever since. It's her favorite thing.
It's a fun game if you find the right thing to play in the right decks and all that. Yeah, I would like to, but we'll see. We'll see what the pricing looks like.
The kids in Fortnite.
So I have a question, and maybe there's no answer to this until it's released, but are these cards compatible with regular Magic cards or other franchises Magic cards, or only itself?
They're all compatible, but
there's a period where standard tournaments allow a certain number of sets, so they phase out of standard after a certain amount of sets come out. But you can play classic tournaments or stuff like that where it's more laissez-faire and you can use basically any Magic cards from any time. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's Legacy where you can only play there's a bunch of stuff.
But yeah, I think what Vanessa's asking, what I want to know, because I haven't bought any of these cool branded sets before, is it practical to play just half of regular Magic cards and then half a deck of Star Trek?
If you're playing just with friends.
Yes.
Like if it's just you and I, you could play with whatever. Like you could do Fallout, Doctor Who, Star Trek, SpongeBob all in one deck. But if you're playing
Well, that sounds amazing, really.
official tournaments, you have to play like the set like last 3 are the only
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You
then
can
they like
combine it
phase
with the
in
last
rotate
couple
through
sets.
effects and stuff. Otherwise, I'd go back to my days from 1997 in the Tempest cycle with like Shadow, because nobody has a protection to Shadow these days. Stuff like that. And then it's like, it's not really fun or fair.
Just use my sliver deck.
Yeah, I have slivers. Those are great.
I was getting hit with the death ray. There was like a reflection of the sun right in my eyes.
I am sorry. Man, it's weird how spread out we are here around the country.
Yeah, I was thinking I have no sun here.
It's after
gonna be
9
dark
o'clock
soon.
here, and it's very dark here.
And
You
then
guys still
it's
have light.
not a
That's
cloud
awesome.
in the sky, and it's still bright AF.
Whoa.
All right.
Oh,
Way.
what is that? What is that light? It's like a death ball.
It is the sun through the clouds, the gray clouds. The long gray is about to start. I'm not ready.
Oh,
yeah, it's supposed to come out next fall. I think November was what they were kind of alluding to.
I might have a Christmas pack.
Let's get into what we actually came here for. The movie Galaxy Quest, something that I had not seen in a long time, and like I didn't see for a long time until just a few years ago, until the incessant nagging of the internet that's like, this is just another Star Trek movie. It's part of canon. I'm like, okay, fine. I've seen all of the rest of Trek. Let's go. That's my experience with this. As I'd found out, like Robbie's not with us, and we had talked a little bit earlier about like how he had seen it so many times on cable that he's just sick of it. And like we have two very different interpretations since we've seen it at two different points in our lives with different amounts of Trek to back it up. So I found that interesting today. Anyway, so my first question, how would William Shatner have handled being the captain of a real starship had he been put into the same situation?
My guess is about as successfully as Tim Allen initially was. I don't know that he'd like get there in terms of the actual thrilling heroics.
Probably do some spoken word singing at some point.
I guess like once he gets the hang of like the captain on TOS as what, like if the ship was exactly as it was designed in TOS, which by the way would be really funny because it was so cheaply put together. The captain has the least like they direct, but Kirk doesn't actually like have to have the technical know-how to keep going. So I think he would really enjoy it. Honestly. I think he would really enjoy it. And he, for good or ill, he went in Blue Origin. So he has some modicum of experience being in space. So like, I think he would really enjoy it.
Well, I think the difference would be, even if he enjoyed it, where Tim Allen's character was more the one that like he knew the show. I don't think William Shatner would be able to say like, oh, remember scene 22 from episode 17 when we did that thing? He would have been like, wait, I acted with you in ever?
Oh yeah, also, are we talking about William Shatner now or William Shatner in the 90s?
William Shatner in the 70s during his spoken word stuff here.
Yeah.
Very good. That's an important distinction.
Yeah, because like, sci-fi wasn't really like a thing to the degree that Star Trek was. It's like it was the first time that there was like cons around a show. He's like, why are all these nerds here? I think there was even an SNL skit about that. It's like, why do you care about the little piddly details of the ship and all this and that? Yeah. So now that I'm saying that out loud, it makes a lot of sense that you're saying, Dustin, that Tim Allen is very much a Shatner stand-in. But yeah, it's like, would he remember things like the Crusher or whatever, that ridiculous obstacle course in the middle of the bowels of the ship?
I do like in that part like how much they poke fun at themselves. Like, this is so badly written.
It's like meta. Like, there's layers to it for sure.
After having seen the new Strange New Worlds, I was not surprised because I remember the movie, but there was no reference to of a Gene Roddenberry type, like the creator of this show, who was like shepherding the whole thing and his ideas. There was no real indication of that. It was just the actors themselves.
That's a good point. That could have added like an interesting dimension to the whole thing for sure. Given someone else for like Tim Allen to clash with.
Or like somebody that Tim Allen could have called on like the walkie-talkie first, and he's like, that, you know, just like a nod to a creator that might not want to have to do with the actor or something. Like something. Yeah.
Call him. I need you to write me a way out of this situation. How would you have handled a giant space lizard?
Oh, he'd definitely have fired on him. I feel like that's certain. He would totally fired on him too.
I feel like there should be a scene where he calls up Harlan Ellison, because he hated Trek so much. I think that would be like the perfect person to say, and Mike call about an episode that he wrote.
Oh, have actual Harlan Ellison in this, in Galaxy Quest as
I
himself?
think he was still alive by the end of the 90s.
I think so, because he was a consultant on Babylon 5, I believe.
Yeah, as far as the original question here, I think Kirk would have, or I think Shatner would have been okay if it was him here, circa the 70s, when he like had a lot of mojo going on. I don't think at any other time of his life he could have pulled that off. You know, circa T.J. Hooker, when he's like doing these stage shows and stuff.
Not Denny Crane.
Back when he could rizz
And be without a shirt for a good portion of it. Yeah.
I could see if they bring up the whole crew, though, I could definitely see him like introducing himself to Walter Koenig like he'd never met him. Just like, oh, hi, you're here too. Nice to meet you. Why'd they bring you up here?
That would be good, like in universe.
He'd find like a way to steal people's lines in real life.
Would you have watched an actual episode of Galaxy Quest or the series as described?
Sure. I love a Trek copycat, honestly. I've watched lots of them.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, yes. I don't know if I could have done a full like 100 episode series, but a few episodes would have been kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of gives like UPN Saturday afternoon kind of vibes to me. Like it might be a sleeper hit and it might be a piece of crap. It could go either way, but it looks intriguing. But like, I guess they were one of the couple quibbles I have with this is like, they didn't really show outside of like Tim Allen's line exactly what was so impactful about this show, like why it was so long lasting, outside of the fact that, you know, easily recognizable and stuff. You know, did it have that? It didn't necessarily need like the social justice like coding, but like why was it so important, you know?
Yeah, that's true. We don't really get to see why it's compelling. In sort of in the same way as we didn't get to see much of the Trek parody in terms of why people would like that so much in Strange New World.
Hello,
Robbie.
Sorry I'm late.
And Scott's back.
Hey, Scott.
Move you up. All right.
trying.
It is what it is, man. we were just talking about would you have watched Galaxy Quest if it was a real show?
You talking to me?
Oh, you or Scott? I was just letting you guys know where we are.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely seems TOS equivalent enough that I would have watched it. Provided it'd been on syndication, because I didn't start with TOS. It barely started with TNG. So if they hadn't had like they have at the end of the movie with the journey continues, maybe not, but I don't know. They're remarkably similar.
Like kind of what Vanessa had said about it didn't need like social justice stuff, but I think if it was a real thing, if it had a couple of those really good like Measure of a Man social justice episodes, and I watched those, then I would probably want to watch the whole thing. I've now watched almost the entirety of the original Battlestar, not because it's any good, but because there's a few good ones, and I want to know the like backstory to how they got. Well, it's not even really backstory, but how the
Where it
show
came from.
got to where it was in 2003 to be like an amazing show.
Are you going to watch Galactica 80, 1980?
Oh my God.
If you don't,
everything I've read about that, it sounds like one of the worst things ever.
There's one good episode.
And you can't even find it complete anywhere easily. So.
Yeah, but I think I misunderstood your question. I was thinking if they made in our universe, like when this movie came out, if they made episodes of Galaxy Quest to like promote it, not if I was in the universe of Galaxy Quest, would I have watched the show?
Okay.
I've still
I've been
watched
kind of
it.
wondering. I've been wondering about the layers of that question, because I didn't know if that also meant like if we had a Galaxy Quest show that was the original Galaxy Quest and it existed alongside actual Trek, like if I would watch that then. And that might be like a half and half. Something tells me that would be like sexier than what TOS got to do. It's the 70s. We're going to be a little more liberal with those shorts. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it would be just a little bit more adult of an alternative, while maybe being a little cornier in the way Battlestar is. I don't know. I would be cool with it if they had made actual Galaxy Quest episodes. Because, I just feel like it would be Trek enough that it'd be good filler, even if it wasn't amazing. If I could get Tim Allen actually acting like he is in this fucking movie, I'd have a TV show I won't watch from him. God damn it, I deserve that much out of how much time he's taken from my life.
They keep saying they're making a sequel.
Seeing his face. He's been on TV for 40 years at this goddamn point.
This might have been the height of his career, honestly.
Yeah.
For me, this is
even higher than when he got arrested for cocaine. Even higher than that.
Well, that was kind of the start. That's what started the whole ball rolling.
That's a different type of analogy we're making, Vanessa.
Well, he's getting really high here.
It's like
he's like in the universe. This is what happens when you do way too much cocaine. You get encased in a bubble and sent across the universe.
Go in the goo.
It's like Archer. Like you could put a side by side with Archer in the goo.
And you know what? If I could get like a Galaxy Quest show where he acted like Archer, that would be fun. I need an Archer Trek thing. They didn't quite do that when they did the outer space stuff for Archer.
Who looks better covered in goo? Tim Allen or Scott Bakula? That's
Danny DeVito.
Probably, yes. I'm gonna go with Tim Allen here. Just only if Archer was in the same type of goo, I would have said Scott Bakula, but he was in like a web of semen, and I really don't like to think about that episode.
Valid.
Okay, who the hell was Tim Allen's trainer? She did a hell of a job for him to marry her at the end of this, because he looks incredible. Like when you get that shirt off, I was fucking amazed. Like, whoa, it's like a light shining in your face.
Had to come off.
I'd want to get swole if my shirt was popping off in this movie, but
yeah,
fighting rocks with my shirt off.
Like,
I mean, he hasn't been in that good of shape since high school. Am I right?
I was just really tickled by how naked Tim Allen is in this movie. Like, why is he wearing a shirt with no pants? It's like for a good 10 minutes when he's like drunk in his house.
You know what? He was a sex symbol for house moms. You don't even fucking know back in the 90s.
But,
They were getting all wet for Tim Allen. This is the final completion of that phase. He can move on with his life after this.
The three people we've talked the most about so far: William Shatner, Tim Allen, and Scott Bakula. They're probably the three dudes in history that they must have had it in their contract that they had to have their shirt torn or away from them at least a certain number of episodes per season. Because it's too many times to be coincidence.
Like the scene in Enterprise when Scott Bakula is like taking a shower and the water's floating away. It's so unnecessary. It's so egregious.
Del,
so is the half naked lumberjacking.
Oh yeah. He had to be a fan of a water-based sport just so he didn't have a shirt sometimes.
Right.
Correct. So let's get into some real comparisons.
And they throw that out also in this movie, like Sigourney Weaver. You know, like the last 10 minutes of the movie, I'm like, lift up your jacket.
Yeah, that was intentional. And for anybody that doesn't know, that was a latex suit. Like, those aren't her real breasts.
Oh my god, incredible.
Wow.
Okay. So getting into real comparisons here, how do the Thermians compare to actual overzealous Trekkies? And I know we have some like actual overzealous like fans, but I feel like the Thermians are more like you're like deep. I know all the technical manuals Trekkies.
I have all the schematics at home.
Yeah, they're the kind that is into the manuals and how the systems work, but not any of the stuff that is behind it. Not the soul, they're not getting what's really going into Star Trek or Galaxy Quest. They're just getting the.
Well, they said that they watched this show to sort of like give them hope. So I think that there's something they're connecting with that inspires them to sort of take on the entire praxis of the show. These are the only clue that there's something going on with the show beyond, the sort of goofy thing that they try to portray in the short scenes that we get.
Mm-hmm. It's probably.
It did seem a little odd though. Like it kind of seems like pertaining to what Josh was saying. It's like they know which buttons to push to make the ship do stuff, but like not how it makes it work. It almost borders like on magic to me. Like somehow they made this functioning ship work without knowing how they did it.
TOS had plots with less for aliens.
I mean, I think they must have some type of extreme scientific understanding if they're taking concepts from a TV show and fleshing them into actual like working components that would be equivalent to what the theoretical idea of the TV show is. I mean, later on, maybe this is getting too far ahead, but they don't even grasp the concept that these people are not like the characters they represent on screen.
Well, not even just technology. Something that always stood out to me is how they were able to find the exact fictional blood ticks or whatever that he was supposed to eat. Like, do those exist, or did they just genetically modify this species of thing that didn't exist before just for him to eat?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I mean, same with the ball, the beryllium ball, right?
Beryllium sphere, yeah.
That was like an alien secretly involved in the writing of the show. Like,
Maybe, and this sounds dumb, but maybe there's an episode where they break down what beryllium represents and they found an exact carbon copy throughout the universe. I mean, that's the only even moderately logical conclusion I can make to what that would be. And, that was a thing that kind of drove me nuts. Like, it's one thing for them to fabricate the entire TV show into reality. It's another thing for a portion of the TV show to actually exist without any question.
Also, what about like the Omega 13, the big MacGuffin at the end? Like nobody on the show even knew what it did, but it happened to conform perfectly to like a fan theory.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I did wonder, like, why this was really a big thing and why none of the crew knew what it was. Like, was there really no episode about it, or was it so unmemorable when they brought it up in the show that even the cast didn't really pay attention?
From what I got from that is that the show was canceled. Like that was they found that on a planet and it got canceled before they ever got to use it. So the episode hadn't been written that would explain it, but I'm not sure if that's the intention or not.
I also wonder if there would be like press interviews post cancellation where the creator's like, yeah, the Omega 13 stops time and rewinds it for 13 seconds, or something like that. I mean, I can't remember that kid's dialogue too well, but maybe he said something akin to that. Like,
he said that there's like a couple theories, but they're fan based.
Okay, they only have theories.
Where they're just like, well, it could be, this, that it could be, destroy everything in 13 seconds, or it rewinds time by 13 seconds. So those are just theories. It kind of reminded me of the way that the dolphin department on the Enterprise,
Cetacean Ops.
Yeah, Cetacean Ops.
I like Dolphin Department.
It kind of reminded me of something like that, where it's like it was talked about and until Lower Decks never shown. Something like that. But the Omega 13 seems to be a bit more front and center because it was the name of the name of the ship, I think. Or no, it was called the Protector or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Star Trek Dolphin Department DD9.
So that does like go to explain like why the aliens weren't able to explain like what it is. Nobody did.
They can build it. They just can't figure it out.
Something they don't even know like what it is.
So here's the thought I had earlier that I forgot to put on the questions list, and Nadia just kind of jump-started me on it. Who do you think had the better career, Tim Allen or Justin Long?
Well, Justin Long is still getting quite a lot of work, so...
He hasn't done anything important in a while, but...
He was the main character in the second season of Goosebumps, I think, last year.
Oh, yeah.
Admittedly, I didn't love that season, but he was in it.
I mean, he's been in a lot of things.
Or was he in the first one?
He was first. Schwimmer.
That's right. I always mix him up with like old David Schwimmer. They look very similar.
They didn't even meet each other. Season 3 coming.
I know.
Okay, like if we're gonna talk about hard fucking numbers, Tim Allen by a country mile.
Well, yeah, he's got the money.
I mean, like this guy has got crazy fucking numbers for being such an everyman schlub. Like it's absolutely insane. Toy Story numbers. I mean, he's gonna have work just going to conventions the rest of his life if he never wants to do a fucking thing ever again. But I mean, he's had like what, at least I think 4 full sitcoms that are hits at this point in his life. Maybe it's just 3, but
no,
either way.
Yeah, 3 that I can think of. I can't remember what the 4th
one. Yeah. Okay.
It probably is one. But
I mean, that's a crazy like amount of work for a lot of people. And they say he doesn't work the hours that he would have at one time. Like I can't remember the name of the writer, but there was this pretty lefty writer who was writing for his second dad sitcom, whatever the hell that was called, and they said that he had a fit work day, no overtime, like everyone goes home on time. It's not a problem, so I think that's a good thing. To have to work under, what you're doing. It's a set schedule. You don't have to deal with any weird egomania. Like, well, there's probably some that we're not seeing. But yeah.
I've heard of people like it's sort of like the union, that's a union thing. And it's weird that writers would even say that. But like that's the entertainment business. Like working overtime is just kind of expected. I remember Maria Bamford talked openly about like being on medication and really like, that I do the 8 hours and I go home and have what they call a 12-hour turnaround. It's like necessary for a work-life balance, but when a show is centered around you, the expectation is that this is your life and that's it.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, the amount, and like Toy Story and Toy Story 2 are just, incredible animated achievements for, a whole generation, a couple of generations of kids, and they're still beloved movies by a good portion of the population. If we're just going by hard facts, I mean, Justin Long hasn't had a career that even compares to Tim Allen's in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but I think if you asked like most people 30 and below who they recognize more, I think a lot more of them now would probably recognize Justin Long.
He does have indie cred in a way Tim Allen never will.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of like a more varied amount of stuff than Tim Allen.
Yeah.
He's been in more things.
He's been a lot more stuff more recently too. And a lot of like
Allen's been in bigger
a lot
things.
of pretty big movies.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, and to go with Robbie's point, like Tim Allen's also got the Christmas market cornered on a yearly basis.
Oh, I didn't even want to talk about it.
The Santa Claus.
Tim Allen and Mariah Carey just got the market cornered. Oh God, no! That Trust movie is
it'll start. It'll start tomorrow, man.
That movie was great and also horrible. Definitely, I watched that once, and that's enough. Movie.
Definitely not a comfort movie.
So talking about Justin Long, why doesn't he know that the auto destruct stops at 1 second?
I think that's more on the Thermians. Going back to what we were talking about, they build the thing the way the show looks. So on the show, it just stopped at 1, and they're like, okay, I guess that's how it works. But that's not necessarily what it's designed to do. That's just their interpretation of it.
Nadia, Jeepers Creepers it's a terrible movie. Oh my God, I hated that movie. I saw it in theaters.
Like, I kind of see them on the same acting level, just in different ways. Like Justin Long's more the, like I just remember him from sort of like teen sex romp type stuff. And or like in scary movies where he's like, oh, he has a good face. And Tim Allen has like a family thing cornered.
Is he in what's that? Idle Hands? Is he part of that movie at all? Is he? Okay.
No.
No. He's in Drag Me to Hell though.
I think that's Devon Sawa.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got some of that action going on too.
He was a New Girl for a while.
Oh.
I kind of love Idle Hands. That's one of the best like C-list like horrors ever, honestly.
It has a couple of moments, I will grant it.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's not great. On a story level, it's terrible. It's garbage, but it's executed on a much higher level than it deserves to be.
My guess as far as the question with regard to like why he didn't know about the countdown is like, since he believes the ship is real, he also believes that it has vulnerabilities that would, carry beyond the show. Like the ship exists when the show isn't on. So it could auto destruct. Maybe that's why, that like he sees it as a real thing, so it has real vulnerabilities.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So he was just told the ship is real, but he wasn't told the ship is real because these weird aliens just built it right now. Now he's under the impression it's just always been there since the
That
show
was
was
so
on.
cute.
Mhm.
I knew
Like,
it.
my this is when my other quibble with the movie comes along, is that like when Tim Allen reaches out to Brandon, this super fan guy, and he says, yeah, the ship is real. I didn't think in their interactions leading up to that, when that like that was the big problem. It was the fact that he kept blowing him off and treat him like an asshole. Like he could have built the bridge there and said, hey, I'm sorry I was a shitty person to you for, like maybe you're a little overexcited about something that I'm not super excited about, but I could have approached you like differently.
William Shatner never would have apologized to
No.
start.
Yeah.
So I'm going with that.
Okay.
I mean, that's perfectly
Okay.
in character. Yeah. No apologies from this guy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, as far as like a satisfying emotional arc in the movie
Yeah, I
itself.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mostly him screaming at him about what he's got to do.
So we've talked about the William Shatner Tim Allen dynamic, and we have this question: why are the Galaxy Quest characters not a one-to-one match to make the like TOS Trek analogy stronger?
Maybe they feared a plagiarism lawsuit.
I think
That's the most likely reason.
Parody's
for me,
allowed though,
too.
so
I think part of it's
Yeah.
trying to bring in like also the TNG of it, because obviously, what's his name supposed to be Wesley, or at least
Yeah.
Wesley equivalent.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for there. Or I also get oh god, what's the name of the kid in the original Battlestar?
I was gonna say Boomer.
Boxy,
That's
Boxy,
Boxy, yeah.
right?
Boxy and his Daggett.
oh my god.
And that kid went on to be a Treyu in the Never-Ending Story.
Right. Or like Patrick Stewart as the Alan Rickman character. Because like at least the first few seasons of TNG, because Patrick Stewart was like not
Yeah, I
into
could see
being
that.
Picard at first.
It was like Patrick Stewart through the
Yeah.
lens of Spock.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
And-
too. Like somebody that has to get prosthetics, but
I
think
love that he
like,
like never takes it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like they never talk about it.
It's a
Like,
great
when
joke.
he take it off?
Yeah, I think that's been like bugging me for a few years because I want to make that a more direct Spock analogy with the makeup and stuff. But his whole thing is like the Shakespearean actor not wanting to be associated with low-grade pulp genre fare and being trapped in those roles for the rest of his life. Actually, that does make it gel a lot easier to think of it as Patrick Stewart doing a Spock-like character.
that's fair. I actually hadn't thought about him as Patrick Stewart, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the like British actor that thinks he's too good for it, because that was Patrick Stewart for the first couple of
was.
seasons.
And like TNG, of course, their cast is like famously facetious to the point where certain directors are like, we're not working with these fuckers ever again. Like ever.
Yeah.
And Patrick Stewart at first was like, they're so unprofessional. How dare they? And they eventually got to him. They eventually
Yep.
got to him.
Then he became the most unprofessional troublemaker.
Like the camera's on and they're good, but when it's off, it's like Goof City. Because you're there for like 16 hours.
Yeah.
As we mentioned
Yeah.
before, the overtime is expected. So it's like you have to be a human at that point.
How many fart jokes do you think happened I mean, there had to be quite a lot. You're on set for 16 hours.
Oh my
I'm sorry,
God.
maybe this isn't a path we want to go down, but
How do you go to the bathroom in those suits? That's what I want to know. Do they
Yeah.
like? Because
Especially
it
the
looked
first
like
two
one
seasons.
solid
Something.
suit.
Well, like the TNG ones aren't that bad, but talk to Jerry Ryan about
Oh
like
my
her
God.
UTI issues and stuff because
Yeah.
like she couldn't pee.
Oh.
She had to have help, and it took like 20 minutes minimum to get her out of her original suit.
Because like she had a corset on too,
Yeah. Like a whole
Yeah,
and
that's part
that
of it.
like not being able to pee with a corset on, kill me.
Trooper.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, how does this movie compare to, say, Star Trek IV, the one with the whales? Since that's kind of Trek's silliest movie, or at least most like open-ended, kind of takes place
Well,
in today like this. Parts
Well,
of
it is silly.
I don't think it's like full on self parody. I don't think it comes close to that. Like this has a layer of parody to it that gives it a comedic edge. I guess 4 doesn't have in the same way. Like 4 is more of like a situation comedy, whereas this is like taking the people who are who in this situation are like feel like they're in a comedy of like failure, but then they're being placed into the actual like situation that they were acting out in the show. So I kind of wish like 4 or any of the Star Trek movies had some kind of like weird meta moment where those characters became aware that they were in a TV show. That'll never happen. That's I mean, like with something like Lower Decks, you can get away with it, and they have, I think, once or twice if memory serves. But yeah, I think there's kind of a big difference. Like the silly nature of that is more about culture differences than this, which is more about like the pretenses of actors.
Yeah, there's not that extra meta layer in
Yeah.
Star Trek 4. Like there's some sort of in jokes there,
Yeah.
but they're specific to Star Trek. Whereas with this, it's like the conceit is a bit different because we're not getting William Shatner saving the whales. We're getting Kirk saving the whales.
But it
Yeah.
never takes it as far as I think it's the next thing we're going to discuss, Spaceballs, right? Where they are just
Yeah.
aping the entire form, like having stunt doubles and cameramen and all that stuff as part of the actual thing that we're watching. So this plays a nice middle ground of like not taking it seriously, but also being a serious story within and of itself.
I think maybe I don't know. I think maybe I like the resolution of 4 just a little bit better because it has like a sincere message beyond, nihilistic actors being taken back from a brink and being given new hope in a different. Like I don't. Some of the action beats of this movie don't feel quite as. They don't feel quite as satisfying to me as the way 4 plays out. I'm speaking a lot from memory because I haven't seen 4 in a while, but that's how I feel at this point.
Yeah, there was like that environmentalist sort of messaging in 4 that doesn't quite land here. It's more about
I mean,
the
There's no greater
characters.
message.
Yeah, like there's
I mean-
it's just about the characters in the movie sort of coming to an emotional conclusion. Like now the Gwen and the captain can get together and the Shakespearean actor can feel better about himself. It's about them.
they just killed people when they had their fucking ship fly into a sci-fi convention. I mean, they destroyed massive amounts of cars, ruined people's lives, and then they get out and they look at each other and they make out like, yeah, we just did property damage. Holy shit, that was awesome. It's so bombastic. I mean, it's entertaining and fun, but it doesn't have the like punch of
When the time's
the
right.
before.
If they do make a sequel, I want them to address that. So it's been 25 years since the Galaxy Quest massacre. Families are still coming to terms with the loss of their children.
Now, I already donated everything from the reunion show to their homes. What more do you want? What more do you want out of me? I'm just an actor. That's what Tim
Like
Allen's character
Tim
would be
Allen
doing.
he just makes a YouTube channel where it's like all apology videos.
I have to show my restitution.
All the Galaxy Quest actors sing Imagine on Zoom call.
All those cars in the parking lot. How do you explain to your insurance company what just happened?
The proceeds after expenses were taken out.
Act of God. That's what they'd say. Act of God. Too bad.
You're on your own.
Okay, we all know that the Galaxy Quest TV show is a cover-up for what happened there because the U.S. government cannot actually admit that a real spacecraft crash landed into a giant science fiction convention. So they gave them a new TV show to make it seem like that was all promotion for the new TV show that went out of hand, and it plays off great in the public. And now the U.S. has an actual spacecraft to study and further our resources against our enemies going forward. That's how we got to where we are today.
It's a twofold marketing plan, viral marketing scheme, because they're also looking to detonate and destroy and demolish that convention center. So it was literally two birds with one stone.
The corruption never ends in this country.
So, if we could have gotten the rock monster from this movie, would it have made the end of Star Trek V any better? On the Cybok?
I mean,
yeah.
What would God want with a rock?
A rock lobster?
What would he want with William Shatner?
Was a rock monster.
And for anyone out there that doesn't know, Star Trek V was supposed to end with a bunch of rock men, and they spent like $500,000 on this animatronic that it didn't really work. And Shatner had originally gone like, I want an army, and the studio was like, you can have one. And then he's like, can I have a dozen? And they're like, you can have one. And he's like, can I have 6? And they're like, you can have one. And that one didn't work, and it cost $500,000.
Can I have one
and
that works?
That's why like the end is just kind of almost unfinished.
See, the best Rockman is probably the Rock Eater from Neverending Story. That's the Rockman I want to see in all the movies. Yeah,
big, strong hair.
Yeah, he had pathos, man.
Yeah, yeah.
They should just let him take it into magical realism and done it all in claymation.
I want to see how he beats
it. We could have totally had some Ray Harryhausen stuff going on there.
That would have taken into Spaceballs territory if they mixed in different styles of animation.
It would have been better than what we got, though.
Yes,
it would have been better.
And they could have brought back the fight music.
I enjoyed when they were trying to explain, or maybe find his weak spots. Try to see what he wants. What's his motivation?
Okay.
I don't know. It's a
weak spot.
You know what? That could have been the meta moment in the movies. Like Kirk realizes him and all his friends are part of an elaborate fantasy TV show. And then you have the rock monsters that are part of another TV show. They could have done more.
But those poor people on Gilligan's Island.
That's a great line. I really liked that.
But then we wouldn't have had Star Trek 6.
Good point. So we got talking about the Neverending Story. I had seen this the other day. This is Todd Stashwick that played Liam Shaw in the 3rd season of Picard.
That is wonderful.
And he recently went to this con. They had this whole Neverending Story set up. They had the rock monster. They had the wolf. They had Ortex drowning in the goddamn swamp.
That's horrifying. It's horrifying.
God,
but him writing Falcor is like, so I love it.
I need to rewatch that movie. It's been too long. It was like my hyperfixation movie in elementary school.
Well, it hasn't finished
yet. Loved it in early elementary school.
It was my favorite, but it also scared the crap out of me. The wolf terrified me. Terrified me.
That
I guess
song
this
was
is
a
like
banger. What is it, like Kajagoogoo sang it?
I know.
Lamar?
Yeah, I'm wanting to say it's Toto. Actually,
Oh.
maybe I'm wrong. Hmm.
My
Scott,
heart.
who is it?
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought you said
Oh,
you
wow,
knew.
okay.
Sorry.
I know weird.
I
Lamar.
thought you would
I don't
know,
know something.
Scott.
Nope. But I know weird that I don't know something, right?
Okay. We're down to our last 10 minutes. We should probably actually talk about the movie we came here to talk about. Because the biggest question that we have left,
No.
I should get out now. Is this a lost Star Trek movie? Is this part of Trek canon? Ish.
I'd say not really. It's like adjacent. It's fun, but it doesn't really have the same like heart. Yeah.
Part of me wants it to be.
I don't know. I
But
disagree.
I kind of don't think like it passes the sniff test in just certain ways.
Mhm. I think it's like affectionately added to canon. Like people just like that it's so, the blueprint is there, like the skeleton is there. And I think at this point, we were so Trek starved.
Yeah.
Enterprise was over. This was before Discovery.
This is before
that-
Enterprise.
Yeah, this was-
before Enterprise. Okay.
Because
Voyager was
they
I was
still
gonna
on
say
there.
this was 1999.
before
right?
the Zindi.
Mhm.
So some people think they took the idea for the Zindi from Saris.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because okay, yeah. It's
What?
like this was a bit of a So I think it's just sort of like just an affectionate, lighthearted canon, but without like picking it apart for like how closely it resembles it, kind of thing.
Scott, you were saying something?
Yeah, but
I couldn't tell you. I'm lagging too much.
oh,
I'm sorry, Ben. Is it a Star Trek film? No. Is it better than more than half of the Star Trek films? Easily. I love Star Trek, but most of the movies aren't great. A couple of them I even would say are unwatchable. This is infinitely better than most of them, with the exception of 4 or 5 of them out of 13. Yeah, it's 13. 13, right? Or
Well,
14
unless you
now.
have Section 31.
14. Yeah, so
It's
14.
14.
14. I like this more than Section 31.
I would agree.
That's a low bar, but I do like
Hot
this
take.
movie. This movie was really fun.
I just
On
think
the-
this feels like a movie in the way most of the other Trek movies don't. Like they just kind of feel like long TV episodes a lot of the time. But this feels like a movie that has a resolution the way a movie should. So it's got a lot going for it in that way.
That's true. This wasn't really trying to leave the door open. I mean, even though it had the continuing adventures at the end, it wasn't trying to leave like 2, 3, 4, 5 still have to come. It was, telling its own thing. So similarly, though, I know, was it Patrick Stewart who saw after watching this, he's like, why wasn't this us? Do you think this movie would have done well if it was an actual Trek cast playing heightened versions of themselves? Or would that have kind of made it worse?
I mean, how loving were we to the TNG cast at that time? Were we fatigued with what they were doing? I think that would play a big part in whether that would be considered good or not.
Yes, because this was in between fucking Insurrection and Nemesis, as far as TNG goes, and
Yeah, it was a hard time for the TNG cast.
I think also actors playing themselves would be a bit distracting. I kind of liked that it was nondescript in that way, while the show
Okay.
itself is only sort of vaguely Trek-like. the elements of this movie sort of lend themselves to Trek quite a bit, and the actors sort of harken back to them, as Scott typed out, homage. It's a good homage. But if it was Patrick Stewart and Marina Sirtis and Michael Dorn doing all this, I think it would be a bit distracting, personally.
I just think you need a lot of tooling.
Yeah, and also the idea that they would play people that would be unhappy to go to cons. Maybe like for like a skit, but like an entire full length movie, I think that would be kind of difficult, because that is kind of their,
I mean, some of the actors don't like cons.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50. Some of them love doing it, and some of them will do it just for the money but hate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's valid. Imagine it's incredibly overstimulating.
And then you have Avery Brooks. Whatever camp he's actually in.
Like, totally. But I think it's better when it's like a fake thing to sort of like give people that ability to sympathize with those characters, versus like, oh, Shatner really doesn't like being here. I think that would kind of rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Although, I just want to say, if we're going to think about this like that, then I think having like Patrick Stewart, be this character, it's a little harsh. Like, they did a TV show with him for a couple of seasons where he was like extremely drug addicted news reporter, and it just felt odd. Like, he was amazing in it, and everyone did an incredible job, but they never could really write it properly. So I think having Patrick Stewart be this like kind of mean-spirited, isolated drunk would have been bad for his image at the time.
You mean like Picard season 1? Sorry.
Regarding like the con appearances thing, this just reminded me, Brent Spiner did a cameo in The Guild, I think season 3, during the like Mega Gamerama Con sequence. He's like signing autographs, and he gives you the vibe that he's like generally grossed out and like unhappy to be there, but he's still being like very courteous. But he's like hand sanitizing like frantically after every handshake.
Has anybody ever seen the web series from like the late 2000s with Brent Spiner, Fresh Hell?
Oh, yes.
No, I had no idea about that fucking thing.
This is like an early attempt at like a high budget, and by that I'm talking about like singular thousands of dollars.
Okay.
For like a web series. And Brent Spiner started, and like the whole running joke is that like he had said something so offensive that like he'd become one of the original pieces of cancel culture. But there's this one, and it might have even been in a couple episodes where like LeVar Burton even cameos in one, and like there's this whole thing about like these super Trekkies and super geeks like come up to them on the street and they're like, but in this episode, your character had said this about the warp core, and like, and it contradicts what was in this, and it's just, yeah, it was a great thing for him.
It's like
it really worked.
That would absolutely drive me up the wall too. If my job was to like remember in minute detail everything that I did 40, 50 years ago, oh my God, I would go insane. Or like, can you say the line or whatever? That would drive me nuts. I totally get it.
We're all Trekkies to the point that we talk about this on YouTube, but none of us know what like numbered pipe that goes nowhere does nothing green pipe on deck 37 line, from episode 37 of the original series. But those people do exist.
I think I've heard
almost
Jonathan
simultaneously impressed and horrified by them. Honestly, I'm like, wow, I really like Star Trek. You really like Star Trek. That's impressive. But then I'm also like, whoa, do you like anything else?
One thing that I really enjoy about Galaxy Quest is that it shows like different types of fans. There's different types. There's people that are really super into ship design. There's people that are just like into the plot. There's people that are like, ooh, I'm Gwen, or like dress up like the aliens and stuff, and that's sort of like what's wonderful about it is sort of like ensemble cast. So like, to your point, Ren, I don't think you're like less into the show, you're just into it for different reasons,
Yeah. But that's like most of us. There's only so much I want to know. I mean, I love the show and I love learning little tidbits and I love when we play trivia, but yeah. No, there's a level, there's a cutoff, there's a line in the sand that I draw.
I
Yeah,
really feel bad sometimes that I don't have more grasp on all my fandoms, but there's just so much stuff in the world, you know? Like I can only keep so much stuff in my head at any given time. You know, when I do a podcast, I have to prepare for it, you know, to make it sound tolerable. You know, human beings only have a finite capacity for total recall on anything, I think.
Well, when you think of the original Star Trek fans in like the 70s, they're not owning everything on physical media. They don't have the internet. This is all just coming from their rewatches when it might be on in syndication, and somehow they're getting all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Josh,
no
do you
way to
remember
record
any
it.
of the questions you had found from like a 70s trivia that was like all TOS?
I've got that over there somewhere.
Wow, okay. Cool.
Oh gosh.
I am curious. I was about to cut this off because we've been here for an hour, but these are such specific questions that like how would you ever know this? This was the 70s before like tech manuals and things came out and you could like really dive in like the kids that have got like the 3D rendering of the protector and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the official Star Trek trivia book. Interesting. I didn't realize that's
Oh,
what
it's
it was.
official. Okay.
Yeah, from 70. That doesn't even say.
I was wondering if it included the animated series.
Oh,
or if it's
sorry,
just TOS.
1980.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's still a early year. in
It
a
might
lot of
even
ways.
have the motion picture in there.
Yeah.
Some phase
right.
2.
Yeah, that would be
right.
cool.
Oh,
to
that'd
see
be
pop
awesome,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Charisse. Oh God, I'm glad you have like shown up at
Hey,
least for
Charisse.
we're gonna do out of tens here in a minute, but Josh is gonna read some absolutely ridiculous questions from TOS trivia.
I just wanted to say really quick, when Justin Long said no to taking out the trash, I was just like sorry. I was just in awe. Like how does that happen? Where you could just say
Hey, you
like,
know-
no, I'm not doing it right now.
They were fictional characters.
You know what? I was a shitty little white boy, and I know exactly why. Because you got all the confidence in the world in what you're doing. You know, you're a shitty little white boy in a world that's curated for you. You don't ever have to really listen to anyone half the time.
No, Charisse, we were just commenting on like how crazy some fans are and how they know so much. And like Josh has this old trivia book, and it is such hard trivia. Like, how would you know this stuff without like the guides and the internet and the things that we have today? What do you got?
So some of these, I'm wondering if some of these you're supposed to already know, because this one here is if Kirk were eluding a mass search, where would he go?
What? I don't know. Into a
I think you're
nebula?
supposed to remember the exact episode he was eluding a mass search.
What?
That's
Somewhere in engineering, was it? Because that was like where his evil self went.
Oh,
Oh, maybe. Okay.
I might have misunderstood the question
It's like a
entirely.
trick question.
I emphasize with you, Shuri.
This is one that actually is right up those nerds' alley. What is Spock's serial number?
Oh my!
The toy? Like what?
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 Well, they'll have serial numbers as like Starfleet officers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure it was
thought the
mentioned
only
in
one we
the
ever
anime.
got was Chekhov's, but I might be wrong.
Well, how old is Chekhov? That's the next question.
I don't
32.
17?
21. I feel like they made him younger in the Kelvin verse.
Yeah, I
think
thought
so.
I
And
remember
this-
him being
so
younger
that's
than
Spock's
like,
serial
you would
number.
think.
I think he gave it in court martial.
That would
Like,
make
All
Yeah,
right,
sense.
that's
I'd buy
fine.
that. That makes sense.
Can I tell you
That
what it
makes
is? No.
sense.
Like
Yes,
giving
it's from
court-martial.
court martial. You ready for it?
Hey,
Do you know it, or do you want me to give it to you?
Hell no, I don't know it.
Okay.
I don't drink that much and I don't know that
S179
many things.
276 space SP.
I thought it started with an S. I think everybody's.
Of course.
I don't think it's just like the first letter.
On
You
the
got it on
day,
stupid one?
that must. I'm sure there's some other here. There's a lot of people mentioning of lady friends.
This was written by Gene Roddenberry for Gene Roddenberry.
It was his vision.
Which make of pistol does Wyatt Earp prefer?
That's a real
Cult?
Star Trek
Cult.
deep
It's got to be a cult.
Old 45
That
Peacemaker.
makes sense.
That's not actually that hard because there's only so many makers of firearms back then.
No, a buntline special.
You said the make.
That's the
That would
question.
be a model. You're lying to me.
That sounds a lot like the model.
Not
yeah.
you, but the book.
Well, I guess
All
the
right.
answer is the book doesn't actually.
Well,
know.
then what temperature
One
of a pistol phaser's beam? What is the temperature of a pistol phaser's beam when it's set to dematerialize?
Sun temperature.
How could anyone know that?
356 Kelvin.
Hey, I don't know.
About 8,000 Celsius.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, so they don't use Kelvin.
By Grabthar's hammer and the Great Koala. It's been more than an hour. We're gonna do our out of tens. Versus all the other Star Trek movies. For me, this is like one better than Star Trek 4, which is like a little bit better than middle of the road. It might even be better than Star Trek 3. I'm gonna give it a 7. I feel like I should give it more, but like versus other Trek, there's far better Trek movies, but most of them are also far worse. So I feel like a 7 is very, very justified. Go ahead, Scott.
If I must. I gotta go just actually a lot higher, kind of. I really like this movie. It's fun. It's Star Trek-esque enough for me. I don't know if I'd rank it as high as Charisse, but definitely up there. All in all, no, pretty decent 8.5. There's not a lot about it that I could say that I don't like, except that weird thing about how, like, I really like Tony Shalhoub as an actor, and then it seems like, I don't know, over time his character developed, like, an addiction to painkillers or something, because he's always, like, half out of it. But other than that, it's at least as good an homage to Star Trek as the Orville, and in some cases better.
Ooh.
Oh, 8.5. So actually on that front, from what I've heard, is Tony Shalhoub's character was supposed to be playing that he was high all the time, which is why they had him constantly like carrying food and getting things from vending machines, but they didn't want to implicitly state it. Part of the same reason they dubbed over Sigourney Weaver's, was it an F-bomb or what? Was it the S word that they dubbed over very blatantly in the Chompers scene?
Oh.
When she's, oh, well, screw this. She didn't originally say screw. She said the F word. That's right. But yeah, I would probably give this, I might have actually seen this more than a lot of the Star Trek movies. Definitely more than Section 31. And I don't think that'll ever change. I'd probably give this about a 9. Rewatching it this time, I was actually a little more surprised that it was faster paced than I remembered. Like there wasn't a lot of dawdling at the beginning, which I kind of remembered there being a lot more time before they got into the action. Not too much I would have liked them to do differently outside of looking back now. It would have been nice if they incorporated a few other elements, but for what it was, it worked very well. The only thing that I was going to bring up earlier, and I forgot, is the limo scene at the beginning when Tim Allen falls asleep and it's beamed up. Do you think that would have been better if we, the audience, didn't see it get beamed up, so we were still on the same page? And we didn't know it was actual aliens yet? That's one thing I might change.
I agree.
Okay, but yeah, I think about a 9.
Well, I mean, I hadn't seen this in a few years because I had become completely immune to whatever its charms were from being overexposed on cable. And it actually felt really fresh to go through it again. Like, I think the things I'd become burnt out on had kind of slipped my mind a little bit. And what we got here was a really interesting, like, meta take on what Star Trek represented for a generation of people, I think, at the time. I do think like the jokes are a little broad, like in a way that maybe ages this to a degree that a little bit more fine tuning might have helped. But I still want to give it an 8.5 because it was so lively and energetic, and everything was delivered in the right tone with the right beats. Um, Tony Shalhoub's character was really interesting to me because he's not Scotty. He's not all his confidence is an act until it can no longer be an act because he actually has to take on responsibility. And it was one of the most interesting character arcs to get back into going through as a rewatch after years of not having seen it. It kind of showed me that these characters have a little bit more of a layer underneath them than a few watches might suggest. I do think it kind of devolves into like it just kind of devolves into action cliches, whereas earlier in the movie we'd had a more interesting turn with meta humor and spoofing actual Trek stuff. I do like the pillar scene where they have to like time out the mechanical pillars that are coming down on them so they can get to the Omega-13. The Omega-13 explanation is very vague and odd, and it kind of doesn't make sense. But I just don't think it fucking matters if you're going through this the first time. If you're going through it the second time, you can ignore it. It's probably the best thing Tim Allen's done outside the Toy Story movies. I think he was riding high around this time because of Toy Story, and it almost makes me think that this movie was a little bit of a vanity project almost for him. It's like, you are doing so good, man. We can attach you to an outer space movie of some kind and just rake in the dough. And this looks incredible for a parody movie made in 1999. Even when we're just calling it an homage movie from 1999, it just looks incredible. I could not believe how good it looked. I mean, I like the look of this better than even some Trek from around the time. It looks really slick, and the CGI of it, there's definitely a layer that's not there, because it's made in 1999, but even then, it still feels really good. Like, yeah, that makes me feel as good as anything that's happening in the Orville nowadays. I mean, I really enjoyed this on a whole. I think it deserves an 8.5. If you don't mind it being a little broad, occasionally just a little too mean for its own good. All the costuming is impeccable. The creature effects look really good. I mean, what's his name? Siras. He is an incredible creation. His body moves around in very particular ways. He reminds me of the Tick from the live action Ticks they've done. I mean, it's just a great creation. I think there's a lot to absorb and enjoy if you give it a chance. Yeah, 8.5.
Just to clarify, Tim Allen was not actually their first choice for this. They wanted it to go to Kevin Kline.
Really?
He turned it down.
Oh man! Wow, really? Okay.
As much as I'm not a
This
Tim
actually
Allen
fits
fan, that would be
Allen, I think.
way worse.
I think
Probably.
they picked the right person to do this. Because from what I understand, he's kind of a jerk. So I think it fits his personality well to do a sort of like Hollywood type. But as far as like my score, I like the way that I sort of score things is just like how do I feel afterwards? And can I like sit back and relax and be entertained by the movie in spite of its flaws? Because it does have flaws, and I feel like there's some little tweaks here and there that could have made it a bit better. But overall, it's like there wasn't a dull moment really. There's always like a gag, an action sequence, something going on that's actually like and it's actually moving the story forward generally. I love the little alien guys. I love the ship design. I liked the folks that abducted them. I like the bad guys. I love the gag of like the guy being the bug on the windshield after being ejected into space. Just like it's just so sharp, like everything was just resolved really nicely. Like you can kind of pick at little things, but overall it just is really strong and cohesively written. For sure.
Did you like the twist finale?
The twist finale?
Like where you find out that like Saris is in disguise as Tony Shalhoub's character. Like I know it's like corny, but it also felt right in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I thought it was very much in line with how Trek goes sometimes, where it's like mistaken identity kind of thing. Like that one episode of Trek where there was like 3 or 5 datas and you had to like pick the right one, or the double miles episode where it's like, did we rescue the right one? Who knows? Those kind of things. I enjoy that a lot. I think it fits the tone very well. Everybody's acting is really solid. Sigourney Weaver is great. I could see a little less naked Tim Allen. that lasts me the rest of my life. Anyway, solid 8.5.
All right, Ren, follow up naked Tim Allen.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen this movie in a very long time. I think the last time I saw it, I was in like elementary school. It's been ages. But no, I loved it. It was so fun. And I love these weird big spectacle movies from the 90s where they're like just getting like really good at kind of cheaper practical effects. So there's more of those in like lower budget movies. And then they're also getting like just starting to get like okay looking CGI. And it just, results in all of these like really weird, really silly movies with really distinct looks. And Galaxy Quest is definitely one of those. It was so fun. It's got a pretty like basic plot, but the way that it's executed is done really well. And I like the Star Trek parody elements, but I do think it still kind of has its own identity. And it's just it's a good time. So I'm probably also going to give it like an 8.5. I love a spectacle.
I'm just going to not truly amend my score, but if this is just versus other movies, I'd give this an 8 or an 8.5. But basing it versus just the other 14 Star Trek movies, 7. It's better than most, but not quite as good as others.
That's fair.
That's all. It is. It's a great movie. You can just sit. It's a popcorn muncher. You can watch it pretty much any time.
I think it's very funny, but I wish a couple of like broader gags had been cut out to make the reality that you're supposed to accept on the spaceship in line with what you see from the TV show. You don't actually see much from the TV show, so you don't necessarily have an extreme amount of knowledge of how they styled the ship for jokes to land.
I do like that they included a red shirt. And he's like, I'm a red shirt. And, he doesn't say it exactly like that. Like, I'm a bit character, and this is my destiny to go to suicide.
I don't even have a last name.
Maybe you're comic relief.
I'm here to show how serious this is by dying.
Yeah, I love that when they like reboot the show, he ends up having like 5 names.
Yeah.
in the titles.
I love
All
his
right.
smile when they show him in the TV show. You know, he is just beaming and proud to be a part of that show finally.
We have been here for a while, so I'm just going to say next week, Spaceballs, the review.
Baseballs.
May the Schwartz be with us.
We ain't found shit.
I grab Thar's hammer.
Hey, I'm sorry,
We
lady.
ain't
This
found
thing's
shit.
got a mind of its own, okay?
All
I'm
right.
off to
Well, we'll
form
get
a
into all
rudimentary
the-
lathe.
We'll get into ranking and talking this one next week because there's a lot to talk about this movie. This is this pulls from a little bit of everything. The mind of Mel Brooks is an incredible thing. I had to look over. I've got the entire Mel Brooks collection in a big friggin' box.
I have Mel Brooks in a box over there.
I'm not for sure if I think it's one of his better ones, but
Next to
like,
Elephant Man's Bones.
It's
yet.
definitely
Okay.
one of my favorites. He's got it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we'll get to that next week. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me tonight to talk about the first thing that was just completely not Star Trek, and for all of you who watched along. Until we see you again.